Okay, what is up guys, it is your boy iGrindGames here, back with another video on anime, crossover defense of course, and I thought this video was quite popular demand. I have been asked about it by quite a few people as well, because I just kept getting asked a load of questions, so I suppose that's what happens when you make a bunch of videos on the game. But anyways, before we start, can we just specify please, before I get comments, this is my opinion, this is from what I've seen in the game. I've asked a couple friends as well. So if you don't like the tier list or you have a different view, that is completely fine. Just please don't have a go at me if you don't like it. Because realistically, it's all specification. It depends on the unit. It depends on the rank you get it. There's a lot of ifs and ands and maybes that bring into the units and the scenarios on whether they're good or whether they're not. So obviously, if I put one in D and you think it could be S in a certain scenario or just in general, that's completely fine. Everybody makes mistakes. This is just my personal opinion on what I've seen from playing the game so far. And I've actually got the wiki up right now. So the first one we're going to start off with is the Eternal Eye. And the ability, when you obtain it at rank 5, is it deceives the enemy into walking into the wrong way. I don't know the percentage of that. And the second ability is Black Flames, the one you get on upgrade 1, which attacks apply black flames to an enemy. Now, whether that does extra damage or not, I'm not too sure. But you get these pretty easily from the battle pass. And if I had to give them a rank, to be honest, probably A. If the flames did damage, that's pretty good. And the future upgrade at rank 5, that would make it a very good unit. Now moving on to the next one, we have what's called the Dragon Radar. Now I don't know if this is in the game because I personally have never dropped it. I don't know anybody from my friends who've dropped it. But all it says on this is, at the end of every second wave, find a dragon sphere, make a wish. Once all 7 have been found, you can either get money, power, or an enemy rewind. Now if this is legit, and this is like an actual thing in the game, this is arguably going to be an S tier. If you can get a rewind, that's really good. If you can get extra money, that's also very good. And if you can get more damage, that's also very good. But again, I've not seen this in the game. Maybe it's like a secret thing, or maybe it's just not added yet. I'm not too sure, but it is on the wiki for the game, or the Trello, or whatever you want to call it. So blame them, not me. Now, moving on, we have the Black Notebook, also known as Death Note. And all it says is, when attacking an enemy below a certain HP percentage, doesn't specify which, but it's probably pretty low, it gets immediately executed despite the HP amount. So this is kind of like a Toga from Ultimate Tower Defense from back in the day, if any of you guys remember that. And honestly, for Infinite, this could be an A. This could definitely be an A if that's the case. Because obviously, regardless of the wave, it could save you a lot if you get them to a certain percentage, depending on what that is. In Ultimate Tower Defense, it was about 20%, so it might be the same with this game. Obviously, we don't have all the facts here. This is just what is known to me and what's known to most people. So if you've got a little more info, you can comment below and let me know, and we can always update it in the future to make it more reliable and resourceful. But yeah, that's about an A, because that is going to help you, not so much in story, but it is going to help in Infinite a lot more. Now, the fourth one is called the Strand of a Hero's Hair. And the abilities it says here is make a powerful attack that knock enemies back. Now, I actually have this on my Whitebeard, I believe. And it's not always 100% chance, I don't believe. But for the majority of the time, it does actually go back to that. So I would definitely do that, to be honest. Like, I would definitely not mind doing that at all. So in that scenario that we've been given, I reckon that we'd have to put him probably B, because again, like, it is good for Infinite. Story mode, it could honestly be pretty good, but in comparison to the others, I'm not too sure. Honestly, like, this eyeball is confusing me because I don't know whether the flames do anything, but if it pushes enemies back, that's probably just a better version of this, depending on how it actually works. Now, anyways, moving on to the fourth one. This is going to be called the Hat of the CEO Speedwagons, and it says the first ability is increases coins earned by a small percentage. Now that doesn't seem too overpowered to me, guys. That doesn't seem too overpowered. And due to that, it's probably going to go D. I mean, like, maybe it's good on Bulma, maybe it isn't, but it seems like a D unit. Out of all the ones available, it looks like the worst. To me, personally, because you can only really put it on Bulma and Sandry, but you usually get enough money anyway, so it doesn't really affect anything. Then you got the Philosopher's Stone from Harry Potter, obviously, Whenever the unit gets a kill, gains a small percent permanent damage boost. Okay, now in Infinite, that could be very good. Story mode, it probably is still going to be effective, but that's going to get the most use in Infinite. And obviously, maybe, obviously it doesn't show all the upgrades. It might have more when it's ranked, but obviously we don't know that because it doesn't show it. And I don't think anybody has any that high anyways. So, just on the fact that every time it gets a kill, it gets a small percentage damage boost. When you get hundreds of mobs later in the wave, that's going to be an S. In my personal opinion, it just seems overpowered. Even if it's only like 1% increase, if you kill 100 mobs, then you're doing double damage. So like, that's kind of broken. Now the next one is an interesting one for me, because it is called the Nimbus, the Flying Nimbus, and this is basically where it reduces the unit's placement cost by a huge percentage, but also greatly reduces the unit placement amount. Now, in early access, this was actually pretty good, because the unit placement for Bulma went from 1,000 to 300, but now it only goes from 1,000 to 900. So I don't really know what happened to it. They might have messed up the stats, or it might just only go back by 100. And the fact that you have to greatly reduce the amount of units to where you can't really put it on any of the damaged ones without actually losing like a unit to do, so that's a lot of damage you're losing, so it's probably a D in my opinion. And then moving on to the Uta Uta from obviously One Piece, I assume, and this is makes the unit buff slightly stronger whilst buffing everything around. So this is going to be a support character. If you put this on a support character for Infinite, it's bound to be very good, guys. You've got to assume it's got to be good. If it's a buff unit, it kind of got to be S, surely, because everybody's going to have some sort of support unit while doing Infinite mode, and obviously you're going to need one of those story mode regardless, but Infinite mode is the one that you're going to get the most effect from for most of these artifacts, really. And moving to the next one, we have the Key of Kings, where it says the first ability is to reduce the unit's placement cost by a small percentage, so it's basically the same as the other one, and then at rank 5 it reduces the upgrade cost. Now, in the grand scheme of things, this is probably going to be a C. I mean, like, again, money isn't really an issue in Infinite mode. It's not really even an issue in story mode, because you only need to place, like, one mythic unit down, and then you've won the game. So, like, until the game gets a little bit more difficult by adding, like, raids or something, or you get higher on the floor, on the challenge modes, then it's not really going to do much for you, to be honest. So, that's going to go C in comparison to the others, not as powerful. Moving on to the next one, you have the Divine Eye, and it says the first ability is superior the Jutsu, and it says this unit cannot be stunned and gains a small bonus in all stats. That is very good. And the second ability is makes the unit element always strong against the enemy, will be used on future updates. So obviously that doesn't really do anything at the moment, but most units do have like a specific element, and obviously depending on what story and crystals you get, you use those to rank up the said unit. So obviously at the moment this doesn't do anything, so we're not going to include this. But the unit cannot be stunned. That is pretty good, because in most of the bosses, there's a lot of stunning, especially on the first like map, on the first story. There is a lot of stuns from the bosses, and there's going to be a lot of them. And then obviously, if you're doing a high wave in Infinite, there's going to be a lot of bosses around. There's going to be a lot of units running past, and they won't be able to do damage. So if you had this on like maybe a Whitebeard or something, I'm saying this could be a top 8er. This could definitely be arguably an S, because that could be very, very good, save you a lot of waves and do a lot more damage than you would be doing normally. Now, moving on to the final ones, we have the Hollow Mask, which is the first ability is gains an ultimate ability, massively increases damage for a short duration. So obviously this can be good. It's one of those abilities where you have to like manually turn it on, and then like every so many seconds it does like a buff for so many seconds after that. So it can be good. Personally, it does help me a lot in the story modes, getting the bosses killed. So I'd probably put it top of B, because it is still pretty good. Obviously it only is for a small duration of time though, so it can't do too much. It can be an A though. It can be an A. It could be B or an A, but I kind of want to spread the tier list out. That's why I've not got them all so close together, because obviously they could all arguably be S, A or B tier in their own respects. So moving on to the next one, we have the Cursed Finger. First ability, Everlasting Curse, increases damage over time duration, so this would be good for tick abilities such as Butterfly's poison damage, I imagine. and then obviously increase the OT damage. But there's not that many units that have a lot of damage over time duration at the moment in this game. So to be honest, due to that, it's probably going to be bottom of B, sorry, because like I can't think of many units currently right now other than Butterfly that have damage over time. If more units get added, or if I'm just losing it and some of them do, then please let me know, because obviously if that is the case, then it is going to be higher, but I can't think of any other than that at the moment. Now moving on to the penultimate one, we have the Hogyoku, which after a large amount of waves has passed gains a massive damage boost and slightly increases damage and reduce upgrade cost at rank 5. Now, compared to the other one we did previously, where each hit it does a small % damage increase, I don't know which one is more overpowered, but for the friends that I've been running with, they've said that this is very good for story mode and infinite mode in general, and it's probably just as good. So honestly, I'd put it still in A tier because it's still very good. And for the S and A tiers, it could arguably be the other way around. So if you guys comment saying like, nah, this is definitely an S tier, then it definitely could be. So yeah, and then moving on to the very last one, it's going to be the Vampire Mask, which is first ability periodically summons a zombie, and then the second ability at rank 5 applies a bleed damage over time to the enemy, which stacks with the actual bleed. So this one sounds pretty good as well. This one arguably sounds like an S tier. So this is kind of the tier list we're going for here. Obviously, we haven't got all the information for all the ranks. So like, to the fact that this is kind of inaccurate, but at the same accurate with the information we have at the moment. And it's still a pretty good tier list regardless, because I think even if the ones that haven't showed the extra stats on the extra ranks do actually get put on the Trello, or maybe they just don't have any in general and that's why, that could definitely be a possibility. I think this is still a pretty good tier list regardless. And again, anyone's near the top or anyone's near the bottom can easily be traded around, depending on the unit and depending on the situation. And sorry this has been a long video. I have seen the support on the recent videos, and I do appreciate it. It is going crazy for me right now, although I am going crazily grinding. We are actually growing crazily as well, so I very much appreciate it for that guy. I can't really speak at the moment. I've just done a lot of talking today, but obviously that is the tier list. I'm going to stop going on. Just if you want to comment hate about it, then feel free to, but again, it's my opinion with some other people. Nobody's seen all the units or the artifacts, so we can't really get a full picture. We just kind of have a half picture on how they are. So obviously subscribe if you find this helpful and you want to see more videos on the game. Like, and that's pretty much it. Hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and that'll be me out. Peace.